Episode number 3. That is crazy. We are really out here. Wow. Dang. Anyway, episode 3. We are here. Shifts and Giggles. What's up? I'm Rafer Owens, your host. Honored to be here. So excited to be here. And I am very excited to step into the first step of the process of the Simple Shift Method. See the challenge. See the challenge. This step is all about awareness. Awareness is key to every part of life change and life growth. I need you to know that. Every single thing that you want to do, everything that you need to try to do, everything that you want to aim for, you have to have awareness. And so that's what we're going to talk about today, because you cannot change what you refuse to see. And that is the point of seeing the challenge. So I want to start by telling y'all a story of awareness that is probably one of the best stories that I could tell just of my own life and awareness and what that looks like. And so at the time, this was September 2024, I was walking on a Saturday morning, and I realized in this moment that it just kind of popped up. The thought just popped up like, I don't like him. I don't like him as a person. And if you're wondering who I'm talking about or who I was talking about my 6-year-old son. Now, that's crazy to say out loud. And it shocked me to say those words out loud, because as a parent, you shouldn't say things like that. You shouldn't say that you don't like your son, that you don't like your daughter as a person. It's one thing to say you don't like how they act, or you don't like the behavior that they produce when they're angry or tired or hungry or whatever it may be. But to say you don't like your kid as a person is crazy. And so instead of beating myself up, I decided to just ask some questions to engage where I was and why I felt the way I felt. And so as I started to ask questions and figure some things out, I learned that I had expectations for my son to continue being like me. Up until that point, he was daddy's boy, daddy's bro. That's something he would always say. Are we still bros? And so he was my bro. He would do what I wanted him to do. He would act like me. We could do things together. And since he had turned 6, he'd been becoming his own person. His own personality started to show. He's being a little influenced by, the sports teams he's on and the kids he's around. And he's becoming his own person. And in that moment, I realized I held an expectation in front of him that he did not ask for. And so because I was holding this expectation on him, I was treating him differently. I was treating him like an adult that was just annoying versus as my son who is growing and learning life and learning who he is and all of these things. And so once I learned that, I was like, okay, now we need to, does this affect your relationship with him? Does this affect how you treat him? Do you need to go back and apologize? And I was like, yeah, I do need to go back and apologize. I've been mean unnecessarily. I've disciplined him differently from my daughter. Like, we got to go and apologize, man. Of course, because he's 6, I go and apologize. And I say, hey, I'm so sorry. I learned some things about myself. I want to be better for you. I want to be a better dad. And I'm sorry. I said, have you noticed that I've been mean? And he said, yeah, sometimes. Like, you don't let me wear my skate shoes that light up in the house. And so at that point, I was like, okay, cool. I haven't ruined his whole life. Just, the everyday normal parenting thing. So it wasn't that bad. But I realized that I had made some missteps and I had built some awareness, and that awareness allowed me to change how I parented my son. And so I tell that story again to let you know that awareness is the key. Awareness is the start of every journey, of every part of life change that you want to have. You have to build awareness. And what does that word awareness means? All it means is gathering information. I need to gather information about myself. I need to gather information about the situation. I need to gather information about where I want to go, where I want to be, where I am. I simply just need to gather information. That is building awareness. So when it comes to life change, when it comes to growth, when it comes to taking on a challenge, there are multiple things that we need to do. We'll get into those, but I want to say first that too often when people start a journey, they don't have a direction of where they want to go. And very rarely do people know where they currently are. And so they gain tools, or they try a challenge, or they try to do some sort of life change, and it doesn't add up. And they find themselves spiraling, or they find themselves stuck. I was there with my son. I kept running into this issue over and over and over again, and I couldn't figure it out until I just said what I wanted to say. People often stay stuck because there is no real direction. There's no real awareness of where they are, who they want to become, where they're going, none of that. And so as they're trying to do things and they're trying to change their life, they stay stuck because there's very little clarity of where they want to go. I want to help you get there. I want to help you build awareness. I want to help you change your life. I want to help you do and become the things you want to do and the person you want to be. So again, awareness is the act of gathering information. That's all it is. That is all it is. And when it comes to gathering awareness, when it comes to building awareness or gathering information, it's going to happen in two parts. Where do I want to go? And where am I right now? Those are the questions that are always going to lead me to clarity every single time. Where do I want to go? And where am I right now? That's the question. Every single time. I don't care what the situation is. I don't care what area of life. That's the question. Where do I want to go? And where am I right now? You want to have better communication skills. You want to learn how to swim. You want to, clean your house better. You want to have a schedule to clean. You want to eat better. You want to start working out, whatever it may be. You want to start a podcast. Where do I want to go? And where am I right now? Those two questions answer everything and make the journey that much easier. So if you were to think about it, somebody says, hey, and I've said it a couple times, let's go on a trip. The first question that everyone is going to ask is, where are we going? Where are we going? We need to know where we're going if we're going to do something. Every time you pick up a tool and you want to use that tool, but you don't know what you're building, the tool is useless. And so we have to know where we are going. And when it comes to understanding and knowing where I want to go, I call it dreaming. I tell every time I coach a client, we always start with dream big. What's the dream? 6 months from now, who do you want to be? 6 months from now, what types of things does that person do? 6 months from now, what do you want to look back and say you accomplished? I always say you have to dream, and this dream has to be clear. It has to be concise. It has to be filled with as many details as possible. Unfortunately, people stick to these vague ideas. Oh, I want to be financially stable. Okay, what does that mean? But because we don't have a clear picture of what financially stable looks like, we stay stuck. We stay stressed out. I've known people who have $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 in the bank, and they are stressing out. I've known people whose retirements are set up and they're 22 years old. Grandparents hooked them up and they are stressed out about finances. And we do it all the time in every area. We have a vague idea. I want to be healthy. Okay, what does that look like? But we don't know what it looks like. And so we beat ourselves up because we don't know what level of healthy we want to be. I want to be a healthy person. I want to work out. Okay, what does it look like? And so the more detail you can bring into the picture, the better. So if it is, I want to work out, okay, what does that look like? Do I want to be a healthy person or do I just want to work out once a week? Okay, I actually want to be a healthy person. I actually want to be somebody that does this regularly. I want to feel good in my body. I want to be flexible. I want to be mobile. I want to be strong. Now that's a picture worth aiming for. So now everything that I do physically is going to add up to me being a healthy person that is mobile, that is strong, that can run, that is flexible. I'm going to start doing things that get me to that place. But I have to know where I want to go. I have to know what it looks like to be financially stable. I have to know what level of clean my house is for my house to be a clean house. I have to know what kinds of meals I want to make if I want to eat better. I have to know where I'm going. And so the more detail you can build into who you want to become and where you want to go, the easier it's going to be. Now, the flip side of that is, where am I right now? And while it is very hard to answer the question of where do I want to go, I think this question is harder to answer. What's stopping me from becoming that person? What's stopping me from being the person that keeps my house clean? What's stopping me from doing the meals, doing the workouts, whatever it may be? What's stopping me from making the podcast? What's stopping me from writing the book? What is it that's stopping me from the dream? And I say that this is harder to answer because in every single challenge that you want to take on, you are the problem. You are the problem. Yes, I know people are problematic, 100%. I thoroughly agree and I thoroughly understand. But at the end of the day, how I respond to them is on me. How I react to them, how I present myself to them is on me. And so I have to be honest with myself. I have to say to me, hey, you love eating Oreos. You can eat 12 in a sitting while watching Survivor, Rafer. So if we want to be a healthy person and you're still going to eat Oreos, then let's make sure that we're still hitting the goals we want to hit if this is something you're not going to give up. You got to be okay with it if that's the life you're going to live. And honesty is going to be the thing that changes the game for each and every one of us. I have to be honest with where I am. I have to be honest with who I am. I want to learn and I want to grow. I want to change, but I refuse to read. I refuse to watch YouTube. I refuse to follow accounts on Instagram and TikTok that teach me things. I refuse to try. I'm afraid of failure, whatever it may be. I have to be honest about where I am. Again, going back to the idea of going on a journey or taking a trip. So I know where we want to go. Okay, we want to go to Las Vegas. Wherever you are in the United States, some people are going to drive west. Some people are driving north. Some people are driving east. Some people are flying. But you have to know where you are so that you can know how to get to Vegas. Every single person has to know first where they are in relation to where they want to go so they can now plan how to get there. More often than not, because we are not honest with ourselves and where we are, we pick up tools, we have very little direction. And because we have very little direction and very little awareness of where we are, we just try things and they don't work. And they don't work because we don't know what we're building towards. And so because they don't work, we now freak out, we stay stuck, and we keep doing the same things that we've done before because the last thing didn't work. But I gotta know where I am, where I want to go. And the reason we start with where we want to go is because you need a direction. If all I talked about was where I was, I would just beat myself up because I'm not where I think I want to be. So it's easy to say, man, Rafer, you just eat a lot of Oreos. I got to stop eating Oreos. I just, eat too much sugar. And I stay stuck because I don't have a place to go with this energy. So don't beat yourself up gathering awareness of where you are without first knowing where you want to go. And that's what we got to do. We have to make sure that we know where we want to go and use honesty to find out where we currently are. So how do I build awareness? What are the steps that I need to take to build awareness? There are 4 steps that you need to take in every area of your life to know where you want to go and where you are. Number 1, I need to take notice. When I think about this situation, this area of my life, what do I feel? What do the people who are closest to me, what do they say to me about it? Does my heart start to race? Do my fists get clenched? Do my shoulders get tight? Does my mind start to race? What happens when I think about this situation? That's the first sign. What is happening in my body, in the room, in my mind? What's happening? And once I can see and feel and understand what's happening, oh, my mind is racing. I'm starting to freak out. The next question to ask is, what's happening? What's happening in this situation? Man, every time I go to put on my socks and I huff and puff, I get angry at myself and I end up taking it out on my wife and my kids because I'm frustrated with me about putting on my socks. I really got to get in shape. There's no reason I should be huffing and puffing and now taking it out on them because they don't deserve that. So I'm taking notice. I'm huffing and puffing. Not anymore. This used to be the case though. And so what's happening because I'm huffing and puffing? I'm now getting angry. I'm being short with my family. Okay, after I ask what's happening, name what you feel. Well, I feel angry. Okay, what's after that? Why do you feel angry? Well, because I feel ashamed. And this answer, naming what you feel, is probably the most honest part you need to have. It is the most honest part you need to have. Naming what you feel. I feel ashamed. I feel tired. I feel helpless. I feel hopeless. I feel dismissed. But naming what you feel allows you to know where you are. And then the next question is, what do I want? Because now I can say, this is where I want to go. This is what I want to be. This is who I want to become because I am tired. And that's how you build awareness, taking notice, asking what's happening. Ask yourself, what do you feel? Name what you feel, and then naming what you want. And every time, those 4 questions are going to help you get exactly where you want to go. That is how you build awareness. In every area of your life, whether it's learning new skills, better communication, working out, finances, emotional intelligence, it works everywhere. Take those 4 questions and run with them. Build awareness, know the direction, know where you are, and we'll talk about where to go with that information next week. Next week, we'll be covering identifying tools and resources on how to accomplish the thing you want to accomplish. And I am very excited about that. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. So again, go gather some information on yourself. Go build some awareness. Go see who you are. Be honest with yourself. And let's start changing our lives, man. Thank y'all for listening. I really appreciate y'all being here. Please, 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 if this podcast and this YouTube channel is helping you, please share it with someone else. Please subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Again, this podcast is brought to you by The Simple Shift, my book that I wrote. You can find it on Amazon. I really appreciate every single person that makes a purchase. I really do. I really hope that your life is changed through this podcast, this YouTube channel, the book itself, whatever it may be. I hope your life is changed. Remember, shift happens on purpose. And I'll see y'all next week.